because I felt it inside. I'm like, I don't want to be a glorified promoter.
Right.
Like, I want to be a business person, right? Told my partner, I was like, yo, this is not what we signed up for. I signed up to travel the world and make money online. Like, what are we doing? I probably worked with every industry you can think of. Drug rehab clinics, med spas, restaurants, hotels, you name it, I probably helped them in some marketing way. So I'm always searching, man. I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm always looking for things for sale. I'm always like, okay, what's next? Where do I put this money? How do I buy something? Like, because it's not end all be all until I feel like I have certain cash flows coming in from different places. Like, this guy is all over the place.
Yes.
I've heard that so much in my life, right? Oh, you're all over the place. And I'm like, it's for me. Would you prefer to have $100 billion or to know people that have $500 billion that just love you and cherish you and see you as like one of their best friends?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Love and Cashflow podcast. Today, I'm joined with an entrepreneur whom I've known for many years and has evolved from making multiple 6 and 7 figures in different businesses such as nightclubs, restaurants, ballparks, manufacturing, you name it. This guy has had his hands in it, and I'm super excited to have on today Giancarlo Aguilar on the podcast today. Welcome, my brother.
What's up?
Good to see you, man. Thank you
Been
for
a long
coming
time.
on.
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure hanging out, and seeing you. It's great, man.
What I love about our relationship, man, is that we might not talk to each other for a while, and then we just pick up right where we left off.
That's how it is, man. You're on the same wavelength. You understand each other, right? You're not worried about like, oh, do I have to check in with somebody? Dude,
right.
We know what we're trying to do. We know where we're trying to go.
It just so happens, I think that those are one of the most meaningful relationships when you're able to just pick up right where you left off, even though you haven't talked to someone in a while.
Yep.
And for us, I guess the main common denominator has usually been revolving around the business ethnos.
Yeah.
But, for this podcast, it's all about love and cash flow. And when I say love, I don't necessarily mean just like relationships, but passions, things that you love. Even though usually it tends to go in the side of like relationships, family, and all of that good stuff, which I want to get involved in today's conversation. But I'd like to start off the convo with giving you an option, really. I'm sure you've played Truth or Dare in the past.
Yep.
Right? So instead of Truth or Dare, we're going to play Love or Cash Flow. Which one do you want to get started with?
Let's start cash flow.
Cash flow.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with cash flow. I love the topic. You're actually one of the few to start with cash flow. Yeah. And it's weird because for whatever the reason, you would think that it's only the women that start with love. Mm-hmm. But even guys are like, oh, let's start with love. Yeah. I guess it's just want to get the awkwardness out of the way. Maybe that's really
it's funny when you first, in my head, I was like, oh, let's do love. And then I was like, man, let's talk about cash flow. We'll talk about love after. Because, I feel like it's a softer topic.
Right.
So whatever. Let's get it.
Let's start with cash flow. I love it because, again, that's where you and I really kind of mesh the most. And all of the things that you've been doing. I remember you, like the fondest memories that I have, or the furthest back memories that I have of you, is you like being a promoter. We were young and you were getting people into the clubs. Like,
whatever.
What was that like? Is that where your true, I guess, love for entrepreneurship kind of started? Or how did that even come about, like your entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah. There's many things that I think started. I think it's as a collective. Mm-hmm. Definitely that whole series of doing, being a promoter and throwing house parties and making money and all that stuff. I think that's what really took shape of the entrepreneur life for me. Yeah. But yeah, man, I just in the early beginnings, like, my mom, single mom, usual deal you hear a lot, single mom, my dad and my both grandfathers passed away in the span of 2 years. So. Oh, wow. And I just thought my mom is like an angel. So when I see someone like her, like suffering and struggling, I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And I never want to ask her for anything. So my biggest thing was like, how
Okay.
Like, yeah, 13, 14, definitely like middle school, getting into high school era where I was just like, I was already starting with the standard stuff. And it's funny because you hear a lot of entrepreneurs say this. They're like, yeah, I sold candy in middle school. Like, the lollipops, the Airheads. I'll tell my mom, like, please buy the candy canes. It's Christmas. And then I'll flip them for like a quarter more, 50 cents more. And you just try always looking for openings, right?
Right.
And it was just cool because there's even a thought in the school, right? I remember I was selling Airheads, and in my head, I'm in a classroom. Everyone's stuck in there, and they're like, okay, supply and demand. I'm the only one looking at the Airheads inside the class. If I have them, and I just say, hey, guys, who wants candy? Most likely people are going to buy. They can't get up. At that time, you're in middle school, or you can't get up and just go buy stuff,
Right.
So that was like, those little thoughts start trickling in. But yeah, after that, I mean, my brother was older than me, and he was, him and his friends were in high school, and they were going to house parties, and my mom would let me go because... that was with my brother, older brother, whatever. And the thing was, I'm young. At that moment, I don't know these people. Like, there's no way I'm looking for girls at the time. I'm just like, they're older than me. I mean, it'll be great, I guess, right? But I was just like, I don't know anybody. I'm the young kid at the party. And there's a time when my brother and his friend, they threw a party, and they were trying to raise money to pay the DJ at my brother's friend's house. And at the beginning, they're like, oh, we'll just charge the guys at the door that come, like a donation thing. And at the end of it, they ended up going inside because I guess they wanted to go like chase the girls inside and all that stuff, right? So they left me outside, and then I'm just like, and they're like, hey, just charge guys $5 and let the girls in free. And dude, I'm there. I'm never gonna forget, like American Eagle polo, scrawny. I have like this like soup, like this blowout haircut. Like, it's just the funniest thing.
Still 14 or what? How old?
Yeah, I was like 14. I was like 15 maybe at the time.
Yeah.
15.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just, the first customer that comes up, I can't even like make this up, is like a football player from high school. The guy's like,
gosh, huge.
He's like taller than you almost, huge guy. And he's just like, he comes up to the door and I'm just like, it's $5 to get in. And and the guy's like, just puts his hand in his pocket, just gives me $5. And I'm like,
that was easy.
What? And whatever, the party went on and it even started raining. And I said, well, damn, I'm gonna raise the price. It's raining. I'm gonna charge $10. I'm like, yo, you wanna get inside? $10.
Oh.
And I raised. Long story short, we made, I think maybe $300-400 that night. They let me keep half of it. They split the other half, and I was like, this is something, And I would just go with my brother, collect phone numbers on a flip phone, just build a nice network. At the time, there's not what we have now.
Right, automations
but I'm just
and all that.
yeah. There's like maybe you could do a group of 10, and that's how I started, man. I just started gathering all these numbers, putting it all together. As I got into high school, I started renting the houses out now, paying the people of the home, and then charging, and then using huge groups, building like an entire organization, have people with like the promotion name, and and from all the popular kids of all the schools, having them text it to their friends, just hooking them up for free. And that's it, man. And then, I slowly snowballed into like what it is, what I have now. And I think
which we're going to definitely get into.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. It's kind of relatively new. I don't know much of it, which is it puts me in a good position because I'm going to have genuine questions to ask about it.
Let's do it.
So when did you transition from the house parties to like actual clubs and being an actual promoter and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I think that's where we met.
I think so. You saw me, right? I mean, we connected after. I mean, I was probably out around, I was getting out of high school maybe. Right. So then at that point, kids are getting older. They want to go to like clubs, right? Clubs are cool now because they're turning 18. They have fake IDs, or like they have people that can get them in. It's Miami. Yeah. And I'm like, shit, man, I'm losing a business. This sucks, And
because you were doing house parties every weekend, or
every weekend, dude. I promise you, like, and I wish I had a little bit more like wisdom back then with my money, but I was making like $1,000 on a Saturday, man. Like as a kid in high school, and obviously, what would I do with that money? Buy everybody McDonald's, like give my mom money, like whatever, just like do kid stuff,
Right.
But it was just crazy how much we were producing. So after a while, I'm like, okay, like I gotta level up. So I started like building relationships with like venues, warehouses. I met like club owners at the time, and I'm talking to them like, hey, look, I have a really big network. They're not all 21 yet, but they're 18. Can I do an 18 over party? Whatever, dry bar. Just let me use the facility so it's a little cooler,
Right.
And I'll just start booking talent to make it more exciting. And that's how I started. And then, I transitioned through there, and eventually just, it kept leading up to what we have now. But that was kind of the 18 to 21 because, people wanted to go to the nightclubs at that point. Right. They're older. They're, it's legal now. They're adults.
So you transitioned from house parties to warehouse parties to then eventually actual like club venues that
doing partnerships with club owners, which is funny because that's what I do. I do those deals for some people now,
right?
Like
which is what I was going to get to now. Yeah. Like now, what did it evolve to from? Because we're talking about back when you were 15 to now. How old are you now?
32.
32 is a long period of time, but it still has continued to evolve in some way, shape, or form. You've always been involved in that nightlife aspect, right?
Yeah. Hospitality, honestly, it's so funny. I think it's because I think I've just built such a good skill set, right, of organizing parties and being good networking and having good social skills. Right. So that now it's like it's become second nature for me. So it's kind of like I think the opportunity always follows me.
Right.
And I think that's after a while I just became like one of those people where like again, and to the point that you're getting to, like, I actually try to move away from it, right?
Really?
So once I got to that point where like I even did like a festival and I did that whole thing. I got to a really big point. I actually just went completely opposite. I was like, okay, I need to learn real business. And I actually started interning for somebody for like a year and a half, 2 years. Actually, no, 2-3 years. And I literally was their shadow. I was like their assistant, ended up learning sales, e-com, internet marketing. I read tons of books and like, because I felt it inside, I'm like, I don't want to be a glorified promoter.
Right.
Like I want to be a business person, right?
Right.
And that was always my purpose. So for me, I was always like, okay, then that's it. Dropping everything. I need to move to the next thing. So then for 2-3 years, I just shadowed some guy, completely disregarded the club stuff, right?
Which even though it was probably still profitable, doing well and stuff, or
yeah, like I could have still made it happen, right? But it was very low frequency at the time, and that for me is once I felt like there's a burden. Yeah, there's a burden. It's like, what am I do? I'm not. Once you learn and you get to that point, what this has for you in store for you, I could be a club owner, cool. Like, I didn't want that at the time. I wanted to learn other skill sets. So I put a pause on everything and then literally went humble road.
Right.
Like, no more cool guy throwing parties. Like, now I'm literally some guy's like assistant.
Right.
But it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah. So I learned a lot.
So that's where you learned the other sides of businesses that
Correct.
you didn't really fully understand yet.
Yeah.
But I guess this guy was doing multiple things at the same time.
So this guy, he had a healthy meal delivery service.
Okay.
So we had a healthy meal delivery service. It's funny how this is going to come back. You're going to see later on this conversation. Healthy meal delivery service, but very unique, really cool. We literally just catered to the top 1% of Miami. We had judges, lawyers, celebrities, athletes. And this was before healthy meal delivery services were like popular. Okay. So we're probably one of 3 in all of Miami.
Oh, wow.
And we're charging a pretty good amount. And long story short, we operated out of a restaurant and we scaled. I think we had like 200 customers a month. It was an insane operation, but we did everything from our laptops. I learned how to outsource. I had VAs, people working out of the Philippines, people working out of different countries. And we did everything online. Like, we were just really big into internet marketing. And it's funny, I think he was my age now when I started working for him, and I was just feeding off of all the things that he was doing. Like, hey, read this book. This is Frank Kern. This is a copywriter. Here, Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Work Week. Read that. Read this, outsourcing. And that was like my school, to be honest with you.
Right. Because, I mean, you went through the school process. Did you ever go to college?
Yeah, I went to Miami-Dade. I went to community college for like a year, 2 years, and I was just like, and I walked out when the guy told me, like, I went to a business class, I'm never gonna forget, and the guy goes, he starts the class by saying,
if you've been wanting to start an Airbnb business but don't know how or where to start, I've made a brand new mini course condensing our most recent 6-hour-long workshop into a jam-packed starter course. In this 7-day starter course, you'll learn the problems and mistakes I see rookies make when starting their Airbnb business, my 3 pillars of success, namely how to scout and pitch landlords to let you rent their properties to then list them on Airbnb, instead of having to spend thousands of dollars on getting started by buying a property. My Airbnb price strategy overview, which like me can help you make over $1 million on Airbnb alone. My automation process, which will give you the time freedom and allow you to work on your business instead of in your business. I'll guide you step by step through setting up your very own Airbnb account and mock listing to have ready for your first property. And lastly, I'll show you how to add the same guest message templates I've refined over the years for both quick replies and scheduled messages to effectively communicate with guests. And on top of all of the jam-packed education, I'm also throwing in my Prohost profit calculator, access to Airbnb's earnings potential tool, my house rules templates, my Amazon shopping list, my Prohost budgeting tool, and more. This education derives from 3 years of running a profitable Airbnb business, automating it to where it runs itself. If applied, these can help you instantly get partnerships with landlords and turn a passion for real estate investing into an extra income or even a full-time business. Students who have taken this starter course have claimed that they've learned more in these 3 hours of content than they did scavenging for answers in the internet. But no, we're not going to charge you thousands of dollars like others would. You can join today for just $27. So click the link below to sign up and get instant access to everything, apply what you learned, and get immediate step-by-step guidance and your mock listing set up or your money back. I'll see you there.
This is business 101. And I literally say this verbatim. You only make it in business if you're very, very lucky or if you have a lot of money. That's what he said in the start of the class, first class, never going to forget it. I looked at everybody because at that time I was working with this guy as his assistant.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I got 2 VAs that I'm paying like $200 a month that pick up my phone calls right now.
Right.
What is this guy talking? And I had just read all these books, and I'm just like, I'm out.
Right. Like,
and I walked out. I looked at everybody. I was like, you guys could not learn from this guy. And I just walked out and never went back to college.
For real?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. So you literally like looked out for the rest of the people.
I told everybody, I was like, yo, this guy doesn't know what he's talking. And I actually stood up and I told him, I was like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, that's the, like, I just, I said it in a respectful way, because I don't know particularly. I'm not gonna say, yeah, and I stood up and I told him this. I didn't say any of that, but I was just like, nah, man, that wasn't clicking with me. So
you had the boldness still of standing up and telling this professor that had probably failed multiple times in business.
He was bitter. He was bitter about failing.
He was bitter about it, which is most likely would then had him come up with that narrative that these are the only paths that you can actually make it in business, which are completely untrue. Right. Historically and currently, you could verify that, right?
Correct.
So you stood up, and then that's when you continue to just double down on.
I was like, dude, this is not. I'm gonna go double down. I'm gonna go learn from my guy who was like showing me everything, and I doubled down with him, and we scaled the company pretty big. It was a really cool experience until I felt again, okay, I hit this cap. Like I've learned everything. Like it's not my company at the end of the day. At the end, they did offer me equity in the company because like I was like with them from the beginning, Right. But I was just like, now I got to work on my spirit. And I was kind of like, because I went from, scrappy, trying to, a lot of attention, a lot of clout in like my early life, making money, but not knowing anything, to then getting to the, the point where I was like, okay, I shadowed some guy, I learned business, I was an assistant, I was humble, I was this, I grew something for someone else. And then I was like, but then I felt I had no purpose. And then that's when I was like, okay, I got to find purpose now. I got to find like my spirit. I got to find things like that. And that's when I call it my hippie phase. Yeah. When I was like really searching for like, my spiritual life and like what am I here for? What's my why? And that was a time where I built like this nonprofit, it's a obstacle course mud run race, and that's the whole thing. Yeah.
But okay, so you built a nonprofit, but it was still paying you, right? Like
no,
it was strictly nonprofit.
This was 2.5 years, bro. No money.
Really?
Yeah, like
it was like a passion project.
It was a 100% passion project. Like I moved back to my mom's. I turned in my car. I was broke. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, and me and my 2 other friends, we just like, bro, this is something bigger than us. Like it was just like almost like it was almost like kind of. It was a very like, not an illusion, but we were so high spirited. We really thought we can change the world with this. Right. Like I promise you, we thought we could change the world. Like we were fanatics over this business.
Wow.
And it was pretty much like it was like a scavenger hunt mud run race, but every flag was worth money. Okay. And we were hiding these flags all over this 5K race, and we built obstacles with like, I don't know how we did it. People donated stuff to us. It was a real crazy journey.
That's crazy.
And that's it. If you find the flags in the race, you get to donate it to whatever cause. So it was all about like getting an action for your cause.
Oh, that's super
And then being able to get rewarded for it. So you can donate the money, or you can keep some of the money for yourself. So we wanted to create that question in people's heart during the race.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
I remember seeing about this like vaguely about you posting about it.
Yeah.
How did you find these people to like buy into that vision? You tap into the same network that you've been building out, or how did you do that?
Wow,
advertisement?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So when we first had the idea, we're all sat around the table, and like we're like maybe 22, and we're like, well, we're broke. Who's gonna come help us build this insane business? Because at the time, there's these huge obstacle course companies that were out there, and like we don't have their funding. And we got our closest friends, and we're like, yo, look, we're all kind of lost right now. We're all like in our early 20s, but like this is the vision. And I remember I read it somewhere like, yo, get all your boys, have them donate a little something.
Right.
And I actually remember a couple of my friends they here's they had like jobs at like retail shops. Like, here's $500, bro. Like I wish I can do and build what you guys are about to do, but I just want to donate, like take care of me whenever you can.
Wow.
And it's funny. There's a lot of people like that did that, and it was like 10 of our friends, bro. They all just say, yo, here's $100, $50, whatever. And we just started going like that. And then just slowly just going into businesses. Can you donate wood? Can you donate a website? Can you donate this? I'll put your sponsor. I'll put your logo. This is what we're doing. We're going to build community.
Yeah.
And we went like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And what did it build out to be? Like at its peak, what did
So we ended up doing 3 races.
Yeah.
We did 3 races. We donated I think the most we donated on each race, like $30,000 we donated. We raised over in sponsorships and materials, probably maybe $50,000, something like that.
Wow.
It was a huge operation.
Yeah, huge.
But it was cool. We got to we met nonprofit charities. We got to build a team. We learned about building. We built like half pipes, mud pits. Like it was insane.
Wild.
And we learned faith, just community building, sharing. It was really cool.
Did you guys do partner with local churches and stuff like that, or how did that?
Yeah, we reached out to churches. We reached out to just local nonprofits, and like, yo, we just want to list you as a option for whoever wants to donate. And then they shared, and then we use all we ask is, can you send this email out, to your network.
Oh, okay.
So we just got really creative. When you have no money and you're broke, and like
That's just got creativity.
I'm just like, can you sponsor us for $5,000? No. Okay. Can you send an email blast? No. Okay. Can you at least buy a ticket? Okay, fine. Like that's how I would go through the route. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it downsell after downsell
something,
after downsell?
Man. Like if not, can you just give me some words of encouragement? Like I'm at that point. I'm just like, dude, we need something.
We need something to live the
but
thing.
It was a beautiful story, man. That's like that can go for links. But yeah,
that's amazing, man. And then I guess what transitioned? What did you transition into after that?
So after that, I was obviously very broke because we were not doing this for money. Like we were just kind of like, donate all the money back. That's how we were able to do it. Anything that people bought the tickets for, we reinvested into the course.
Okay.
So that's how we had money for people to donate.
Right.
But 3 years later, I get a knock on my mom's door, and it was a foreclosure notice. And I'm like, oh crap. Because until this point, I've always helped my mom out. I've always helped her pay. But when I told her, I was like, yo, I want to focus on this. She's 100% supportive. Do whatever you got to do.
Right.
But I didn't think it was this bad. She hid that from me. So I'm at home. I get a knock on the door, foreclosure, boom. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, life got real. Yeah. But I had just been able to create 3 successful races, right? 3 successful races, not profitable, but successful from start to finish.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I need to take everything I've learned, from being the assistant, from doing parties, from doing events, from this organization that we built to now focus on making money. And in 1 year, bro, I was able to make 6 figures from real estate. I got my real estate license. I made just buying and selling, helping people buy and sell houses. I was a realtor.
Right. Yeah.
And I made 6 figures in 1 year.
Wow.
Got my mom. We helped pay her crib. We painted her house, bought her new appliances. I was like, boom, we're back.
Yeah. Right.
It was just crazy how I was able to utilize the same energy to build this or to now making money.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always this hub of energy that I can just utilize and then move it here, move it there.
Right.
And that was the transition to that. And then after I did real estate, I was like, okay, I want recurring money. I hate to have to wait to sell a house to make money.
Yep.
And then I got into the next thing, which was the marketing agency.
The marketing agency, which that was one of the things that I remember seeing, that you kind of okay, you can see visibly in a full-blown team. You had an office space.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing you on the trampoline, jumping off this trampoline.
Man,
it was like a vibe. How tell us about this agency. What I guess made you go the route of starting an agency? Did you find a need? Did you see a hole in the market?
Yeah. So again, after that, I'm going back to books like Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek. It was such an impactful book for me. It was okay, I can literally work from anywhere. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to work from my computer, laptop lifestyle, and it was getting popular. Now it's everyone does it, right?
Yeah.
But I was I got to figure this out. So I was really still figuring stuff out, but I had this old laptop. And this is when Instagram was first coming out, and people were trying to grow their Instagrams, and people were trying to do all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. Instead of passing out flyers like I used to do, Instagram interactions are the new flyers.
Right.
Yep. So I started selling Instagram interactions to businesses. And my pitch was hey, I can interact with 30,000 people a month via Instagram, via some software that we found, versus you going out and passing out flyers in the street and not even knowing if they're your customers.
Right.
I can do it targeted.
Right.
It was an easy sell. Businesses were signing up left and right.
Yeah.
So I started that, and then obviously that's a little bit gray area. You're messing with the algorithm. So then we started doing Facebook, Instagram ads. We started doing SEO, social media posting content. Right. And that's when we had our whole team. I had 4 interns. We had it was a staff of 13, 14 people. We did websites.
Yeah.
It was
and
cool.
how long did that last?
I think we had that from 2015 till 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, 4 years.
Okay.
2014 to 2018, 3-4 years, yeah.
Okay, and why didn't you continue with it? What happened?
I just didn't lack of experience, man. Like we got the agency like $50K a month or something like that. I was like my staff, like we didn't have the structure, right? Like now looking back at it now, if I would have had a better SOPs, right? Like, and been able to like give each person in the team and utilize them to the most of their capabilities versus just like, we have 15 clients that you have to handle and then it's all over the place. They didn't really have a system. I was kind of like betting on them to kind of figure it out versus me like, hey, this is how this thing's going to get structured. It's like this.
Yep.
We do this first. Some of the stuff I could have outsourced.
Right.
I could have definitely outsourced a lot of the stuff. I was just very top heavy. I was like, I had so much in payroll. It was all based on like services. Like I didn't have the right customers. I was constantly like having to like use myself. Yeah. There's churn and also like a lot of myself involved, right?
Yeah.
I was maintaining the customer relationships versus the business maintaining the customer relationships. And it's a very stressful business. Right. It's service-based, right?
It's results-based, too.
It's results-based. And at the time, we weren't even doing results-based because we were doing content management for people.
Oh, okay.
How do you quantify that back then? It was very tough. No one believes in it how they believe it in now. You know?
Right.
All that stuff. So I decided.
Shut it off.
Somewhat. Okay. I told my partner, I was like, yo, we got to like, this is not what we signed up for. I signed up to travel the world and make money online. Like, what are we doing? I want to travel the world. Right. So I was like, I'm hiring us an assistant. We hired an assistant. I paid her something more. I was like, give me an email report of everything every single day. I'm out. I'm traveling. I'm going to Thailand. It is what it is. Like, I'll manage what I can from over there. And yeah, I lost like 2-3 clients, but bro, I was traveling for like 3-4 months, like chilling in Southeast Asia. And I was like, I like downsized to half of the staff. Things were still okay. I was like, this is what this kind of business is for. You know what I mean? And this is like what makes sense because it really did burn me out. Right.
And because it was so revolving around you, right?
Yeah. I had to, customers want to talk to me, me. Like, hey, you have the ideas. And I'm like, I'm not everybody's creative, like idea guy. Like what's good about it is that I probably worked with every industry you can think of.
Right.
Drug rehab clinics, med spas, restaurants, hotels, you know, you name it, I probably helped them in some marketing way. Right. So I learned a lot about a lot of businesses.
That's dope.
You know?
That's dope. You know, I have a business that kind of is very similar, I would say, to the agency business that you had, which is the studio that I just opened up. And for those that don't know, like the studio, and maybe you don't even know actually, because I haven't really fully told the story other than just a couple of times, but the studio that I opened up in Charlotte, North Carolina, I opened it up mostly out of need and necessity. Because I had a home office, which I shot all of my content from, and I had it to where it was like, bro, I would press 2 buttons and I'm recording. So whenever an idea sparked, I just literally recorded, and I made it super easy for me to create content and efficient because that was my biggest bottleneck. Like if it took more steps for me to create content, it was more steps that would be for me. Well, it would be the likelihood that I won't do the content just simply because it was too much to happen. So I made it super dope, created a space that I felt motivated in and work from and all of that. But I also have 2 kids, right? So my home office was my workspace, but in reality, 2 kids that are under 2 years old, and I love these kids, and they'll show up on my door, and then they'll be like, "Daddy," and I'm like, "Hey," and I'm like vibing with them. So productivity wasn't where it should have been. And then I started to think about, like, okay, I definitely need a space outside of my house, like. I could eventually build a detached office in the backyard or something like that, or I could just get an office space. And I started thinking more so about the office space. But then I had to think of like, okay, how do I make it make sense, right? Like, sure, I'm making all this money, but do I really want to put it into a space that I don't necessarily really need? Because at this point, I'm only doing Airbnb and content and coaching for it. So I don't necessarily need it, right? It's like, okay, I need to do content. I need to do more content myself. What if I create this space that I could use for content, but also make it available for other entrepreneurs to come in and create content without having to have too many moving parts? It's like shoot and go, kind of like what I had built out in my home office. So that's when the idea really came about. And then catering mostly to entrepreneurs, because the studio is only open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like not on the weekends. I'm not trying to, get influencers in there. I'm trying to get people who are professionals that want to turn their views into dollars, right? Like that's the whole concept. By entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. So I guess knowing all of the things that because it's still considered an agency, like we've gone more so the route of education on this part, because we've affiliated with my partner, Ryan Pineda, and his team over there, that they do more of the education side of creating content, hooks and all these different things of doing that, but also incorporating the studio time and all of that within that. Like, what would you say would be a good, I guess, route for marketing this thing and creating more revolving customers?
Yeah, man, well, that's actually a huge need now. So like the first thing I think about now when creating content and stuff like that, it's like, man, like the setup, having to like, make sure everything's right. Like, it's a huge, I think that's a huge like barrier for a lot of people that want to do content. So like I would like definitely like push that in the marketing.
Especially in like entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah,
like,
you're busy, you're doing so many things. Like for me to stop and be like, we were talking about it. Like I've stopped and go on my podcast when I was back then, and then did some short form content. I stopped because you get busy, man.
Right.
Because obviously for us, you think priorities like focusing on your business, which it should be.
Yeah.
But in this realm, this is just as important. Content is just as important, man. Like
it's a marketing vein at the end of the day.
And again, staying relative, man. Just people hearing you talk, like knowing that you're still around. It's like that's what everyone's glued to right now, right? So, but yeah, I would definitely say like just the accessibility, man. I personally would pay a membership fee, like to have access to that studio. You know what I mean? Like I'll just pay a membership fee. Let me know. I get a couple slots. How many X amount of slots a month. All I gotta do is get there, hit record. Someone's there. I would totally do something like that. Offer that as like a subscription. And the plug and go model to me is what I would push.
It's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Especially in the space where people don't have that much time. Yeah. They don't really even fully want to do content. Right. A lot of people don't want to be in front of the camera. They just know it's a necessity and it's something that they need. Yeah. So, that's where the void that I've even had people have learned about what we have built, because it's mainly 2 rooms. So we have the short form content room that is similar to this space, but it has 7 different sets. So you can literally batch your content in one sitting and use different backgrounds, and it looks like you're doing content in different places, but it's all in the same room, and it's all formatted to where it's like vertical, shooting. Yep. So each you can literally stay in that room for an hour or 2 hours, shoot your content with different backgrounds, change outfits and all of that, and you've done content for the whole month. It's the strategy there.
That's it.
Then the second room is the podcast room, where you could just shoot podcasts, and obviously those get cut up and all of that stuff.
You can use that for
you can do that for short form as well, right? So that model, I think we've even had people from Miami that have said, dude, if you make that happen, like you make it work, like we could, like I'll partner with you and go in on getting something like that here in Miami. And then somebody else is like, dude, if you make it work, we'll make it happen in Vegas and LA.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a niche type of, I guess, service. Yeah. Because it's short form and long form content. I think that it will be very, very good. The thing that we're struggling with right now, I will say, not necessarily struggling, because we literally just opened this like 2 months ago. Okay. Officially. So we have been offering like 30-minute free sessions to entrepreneurs that we find like online, like we have EAs that will cold DM, people that are like coaches, lawyers, chiropractors, entrepreneurs, blue collar entrepreneurs that need to create content, and say, hey, come to the studio, get a free 30-minute session. You'll get 3 pieces of content from it for free. We'll fully edit it and all of that. And then from there, they'll jump on a Zoom call to receive the 3 pieces of content, get some feedback and all of that. But then that turns into the sales pitch. Like, hey, here's what we can do moving forward type of thing. What do you think of that model?
I like it. Is that done so they don't have to fly to the studio? You're doing it on Riverview or something? Or how does that?
So no, they have to, we are targeting locals.
Oh, locals. Okay. Yeah.
So they'll drive to, So these are people that are, what I like about this, and I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, but what I like about this is that they're committed. If they showed up to this place, they took time aside to show up, to drive, to do their hair or whatever it is, they're somewhat more committed to the process. Yeah. I feel like because they have some skin in the game, they're more likely to also convert into clients.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I think like you said, the fact that you have to not invest, maybe for the free sessions, you don't have to invest money, but you are investing time, right? Like, for example, they have to do their hair, they want to get an outfit for the video, they have to come up with some points, some talking points, like all that.
Oh no, that's another thing. Yeah. Our team will sit down with them, and then they'll just sit, and then they'll just ask questions to get content out of them. Yeah. So it's a full experience for them.
I personally feel like it's a great hook, because at the end of the day, content is almost addicting, right? Like once you start, you want to keep going, because what's the point not to? And once they publish those 3 clips or whatever amount of sessions you're offering for free, they're gonna see the reaction
Response.
of people.
Yep.
People are gonna love it. They're gonna be like, wow, this works really good.
Yep.
Because being transparent on camera, talking about what you do, like people like that, man. You're a real human being, and
Right.
they're gonna get the feedback, which they probably hadn't had before, and they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
this is great. I gotta keep doing content. So I do like the hook. I like the hook of the three sessions and the done for you. Like I think it's
Yeah.
so good.
Cool.
For sure.
And what would you do? What would you do differently, or in addition to get more clients in the door?
Wow, that's a good one.
Because that's, I feel like, something that you've kind of mastered is the ability to be able to get people through the door and kind of buy into whatever it is that you're offering. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
our offer is pretty solid. All these things, the service is solid and all of that. How do we get more people through the door?
Well, there's definitely a lot of cool things you can maybe offer, like almost like, hey, do you need a stylist? You know, maybe like, hey, do you need a stylist for like your pocket? We can even help you style it. Maybe even telling them that you'll run their first video ad for free. You know, like, hey, look, we'll set up your ad account and push the video.
No, but I mean, like, the actual marketing side of things. How do we get more people to say yes to that offer?
To that offer specifically?
Yeah, like, would you say, Facebook ads? Would you say more cold outreach?
Oh, yeah.
Hire a VA to make calls?
Look, the DM thing, what you mentioned, was actually really good. So I think cold DMs have been working really well. They work for me really well in my other businesses. I'm a big fan of the DMs.
Yeah, but now they could get like shadow banned and stuff, like not shadow banned, but action banned and stuff like that.
I mean, there's a certain way. There's a certain amount of actions you can do per day. If your account is an aged account, they get a little bit more responses.
Got it.
If it's a verified account, it gets more responses. They have more reach.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the DMs. However, yeah, like I would definitely do some Facebook, Instagram ads for sure. Like just a quick clip letting people know, like, hey, I do this. I'm local. Come through right now. Maybe targeting different niches, right? Like whatever niche you see is like lacking in your area. So maybe like, if, maybe plumbers are not doing content, like maybe targeting plumbers, because there's a lot of those industries and markets that aren't getting the content stuff done yet.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting there, right? But I think focusing on those tapped markets
Right.
would be good, And I remember doing that for like when we were doing like lead generation for like companies in our agency. Like we're like, okay, let's target dentists.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, well, no one's really doing lead gen for dentists. And everyone started doing it. But finding like, okay, home services, or like you're looking at like, carpenters, or industries that like have high profitability, but they're still like old school.
Right.
And
right.
that would be a really interesting thing to see.
What would you say would be an industry that's high profitability but old school, like plumbing and
public adjusting?
Public adjusting.
I think public adjusting makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's still
here in Florida,
and they have some. I think North Carolina too. I think home services, HVAC.
Okay.
HVAC systems like AC units, stuff like that.
Right.
Especially in cold areas, they're doing furnaces, heaters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't see people on Instagram talking
Doing
like,
about
hey,
that.
what's up, man? Look, I do HVAC. They're profitable businesses, in my opinion. And anything that also has to do with like maybe home insurance, stuff like that, like anything like, home restorations, like spec homes, contractors, like I think people like that they can definitely make a big impact with content.
Right. Yeah, because these are people that are already doing well for the most part, ideally, and then you're also injecting another form of creating more marketing.
Because you also don't want customers. Sorry to interrupt. You also want customers that can't afford this long term, right? Like, because if it's very small margins for them, they can't invest in content. So you don't want to waste time with that.
No, 100%.
But
I actually dealt with that with the real estate agents.
Yeah.
Because real estate agents, even though for the most part, you want to seem like you're balling and you're flexing, you're pulling up with a Benz to these showings and all these things. A lot of them are just straight up broke. And then, so we were targeting real estate agents for like the first month. And we just started to realize like these people weren't converting, and I'm like, okay, why is that?
Yeah.
And it's because they didn't have the money. Like usually real estate was one of those things that you can do on the side while you're actually working your regular 9 to 5, providing for your family.
Yep.
So we kind of had that vibe of like, okay, we shouldn't target real estate agents, even though some of them didn't convert, but it was far and few between when it came to the actual numbers. Like this is not us. It's like the industry that we're picking. So that's when we need to pivot here.
That's funny because when we had the agency, I remember like, well, let's do lead gen. Like let's help realtors like market themselves. And I quickly transitioned to the brokerage. Like I went from like single agents, like maybe some are rock stars and whatnot, but what you said is spot on.
Yeah.
You sometimes have to, I went just for the broker that has all the agents under them, who usually is doing a little bit better than the agents themselves. But you're right, it's too inconsistent, people to target as far as for the content. But it's finding those, like you said, those good niche industries where people that aren't seen, like I know there's some crazy businesses out there, like the guys that clean, like I don't know, the guys that clean the grease traps.
Yeah.
Like, dude, those guys are killing it. You know, at the business owners killing it for sure. But you don't think I ain't talking? And it's funny. Just recently, I've been seeing ads and stuff like that, and of that process being done.
Oh, really?
You know, I guess because I have a restaurant, so I guess they target me. But
okay.
It's just funny. I was like, dude, I would have never seen this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this in years, and now I'm seeing like the guy cleaning the grease trap or like, you know, cleaning the, you know, that stuff. So it's like,
yeah, because there's a business for literally everything.
Correct.
So
yeah.
I think I actually wanted to talk about your next venture after, you know, you talked about how you've transitioned, right?
Yeah.
From, we've talked about the house parties to the warehouse parties to clubs to, you know, the agency. Once you shut down the agent, well, to the nonprofit, to the agency.
Yeah.
Once you shut down the agency, like what was next?
Yeah. So what was next was I was in limbo. I went traveling again. At the time, I still had my clients. So I went from like, I don't know, 20, 30 clients to like maybe like 6, 7 clients, but you know, still had cash flow coming in. We're helping.
But at this point, people were managing the business for you.
Yeah,
You
we still had like a smaller staff. Instead of 15 people, I had like 4 people. Like, we're still making money. But at this point, I was just paying my bills. Like I'm just like paying my apartment, paying my, you know, my car, my living expenses, stuff like that.
Right.
But I was like, all right, what's the next move? You know, like what am I doing now?
Right.
I liked it because I needed a break. Right. I was so like, I'm talking about, dude, I was really
because
burning
you're the type
oil.
of person that you just go all in.
When I was all in, at that time, I was definitely one of those.
Yeah.
Blinders on, burn the midnight oil. If I work more hours, I get more done.
Yeah.
Very kind of mentality, and completely disregard everything I learned prior about like outsourcing, being efficient. Right. Like I just got so caught up in like having the team, having interns, like being with people. Like I thrive off of people and energy. So but very quickly I realized, okay, this is not sustainable. So after a while, I was just like, you know what? Okay, now I have a little cash flow coming in. I can pay my bills. I'm not balling, but I can pay my bills. I can figure something out. And I moved to downtown, and in downtown, again, like I always say, man, the hospitality in me has always been brewing, you know?
Yeah.
And I did it for so long that I know all the guys that were like doing events and parties and clubs and all that. And my friend, he was like, hey man, like there's this new place in Wynwood, which is an area here that just opened. They need someone to like do a party. You just want to do it on the side. Like I know you know a ton of people. Like we could definitely just do it and make some extra money. I was like, you know what, dude, I'm like 23, 24 at this point now, I think. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like let's throw a party, like have fun. And I did it for a while, and we're making good money. Like we had the perfect mix because no one from our age range had already like come into Wynwood and then this particular style of a party, or it was like a after college years party kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was going really well. And then a friend of ours that we knew from back in the day, throwing like events and stuff, that both from Fort Lauderdale, we met up, and he's like, dude, I just opened the bar in Fort Lauderdale. If you guys find it, I know how to do this now. Like, because he kind of grew up with us. Like, if you find a spot in Wynwood, dude, I hope you open it. Like, we have the team to do it. I'm like, all right. So just started looking the next day for a place in Wynwood. And at the time, Wynwood
like
was
a venue?
A venue, yeah. We're looking for a venue for sale.
Okay.
And, bro.
So you guys were trying to buy a venue?
Yeah, 100%. We're looking around for a venue. We're like, let's buy a club. We're going to find a bar. We're going to do this. We had this vision that we wanted to do of this particular kind of bar because we knew what was working already at the time. And yeah, man, Wynwood was not what it is now, right? It was rough, man. Cars are getting broken into. It wasn't all beautiful, you know, sidewalks and restaurants and stuff.
Why did you guys set sight on Wynwood of all places then? Because it wasn't what it is today, obviously.
At the time, it was kind of like climbing up. It was like in its, you know, it was slowly climbing up towards its peak. And we're like right there, and we're seeing it, and we're like, this area is it, you know. It was an affordable place to party and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, cool, let's go look for a spot. So literally the next day, we're like driving around looking for places. Like, what about this place? And we're like trying to find the owner's number. Long story short, we find a place. We tell our boy, like, yo, we got a spot. Like, let's do it. Like, you know.
How many people are involved in this? Because that's something that I've realized, that you've always, for the most part, correct me if I'm wrong, you've always had partners.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because like going towards the agency, even that I had one partner, but like I felt like I was very top heavy on me. And I realized I don't function good that way.
Yeah.
I function good when I have freedom and a little bit less of the pressure on me. Like I don't care about making all the money.
Right.
Never have. I care about making money.
Right.
And having flexibility, freedom, and doing what I'm good at.
Right.
And I've learned that if I have the right people in each different department, then it works so much better. Like, why is the guy that's super creative and designing and stuff like that? Why is he doing the books? Like, what? Like, doesn't make any sense. Double down on being creative. Double down on, like, you know, music. Double down on, like, operations. Double down on, like, sales and partnerships, you know? So, like, that's how I kind of looked at it. But yeah, at the time, this one was almost, it's kind of by necessity, right? Like, we didn't have the money. So we're like, okay, we got to get as many people together to put this money down. And it was, you know, it's two groups of us. It was us in Miami, which was me and my other partner, and then my partner from Fort Lauderdale and his partners. So it was like two groups essentially, right, that came together and got this place. And yeah, I mean,
so you had to go through the process of getting liquor license and all these things.
Dude, this is the craziest thing, right? So we found a place. It's under negotiations. At that point, I'm like, I'm having a lot of reflection. I'm like, do I want to own a nightclub? Like, I got away from this a long time ago. Like, I am really having a lot of, like, conversations with myself. So I go to Costa Rica, and I'm in Costa Rica for a month. So I'm living in Costa Rica for a month. Like, this, we had this whole thing. Like, I get to the point where, like, okay, it's already getting done. I'm taking a break before we open this place up. And I'm just thinking to myself, is this what I want? You know, I'm very big on, like, not feeling like burnt out or making sure I'm aligned with my purpose. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm in Costa Rica. I'm kind of having mixed feelings. I get a text, like, after a month. I'm, like, literally in Costa Rica just surfing and just chilling and, like, bro, you know, just being a hippie again. And working for my computer, managing the little clients that I have. And I might get a text, like, yo, we got the keys. Like, okay, it's done. We've signed papers. Like, you got to come back. I'm like, okay. So I come back, and I'm like, okay, I own this club now. This is crazy. And I was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to come back to it. But I want to do this right, because I know there's a lot of temptation in owning a nightclub, and there's a lot of, like, just liquor. You know, there's just a lot of, like, negative different spirits and negative energies that I got to be very conscious of. And I was trying to protect what I've already built. Like, I've done a lot of personal development. So I was like, okay. I made a little thing with myself. I was like, I'm not going to drink for, like, the first 2 months of owning the club. Like, that's it. Like, that's my thing, because I know I didn't trust myself yet in having that kind of power. So I'm 25,
what power
26,
exactly?
Like, the willpower to say no to drinking, the willpower to, like, not, like, you know, like, just being too loose with money and, like, you know what I mean? I didn't have that. I know. That's like, if someone would have told me you win the lotto at 25, I would have been like, I'll probably die. I did not trust, because I understood where I was in my discipline with that. So I was like, no, I'm doing a 45-day. Like, I wasn't drinking for 45 days. That was, like, my thing. So imagine my partner's doing shots. Congrats, celebratory shot. We opened the club. It's so cool. And I'm, like, doing water shots. And it sucked, but it felt good. And I needed to do it. Just to know that I just want to always check myself. Do I have self-control? Okay, I'm good. So then after a while, I was like, okay, I was fine. But yeah, man, that was that.
So then that same club, you still have it?
Yeah, we still have it. That was when we had a smaller venue. Then we opened up to a bigger venue, which was, like, an outside venue.
So you relocated, or you just bought another adjacent?
Next door. So the goal was always the bigger spot. We just couldn't afford it yet. It's like triple the rent, or 4 times the rent. And we're like, shoot. And going back to what you're saying, the smaller one did have a liquor license already in place. So we got really lucky with this. Like, this is, like, I'm telling you, there's a little bit of, like,
so meant to liquor, because I don't know how liquor licenses work or anything like that. Liquor licenses are for locations, not
it's tied
individuals.
To the property. Some of them are transferable as long as the property has a warrant. So then you can transfer them. So this one already came with the property. It was, like, one of the oldest liquor licenses appointed in Wynwood, etc. So we partnered with the landlord on it, and that's it. We were able to utilize it. We were able to partner with her to utilize it.
So, so you basically kind of like arbitraged it.
Yeah, our company's on the same, like, we part own it with
Got
her.
it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, man, that was that. And we kind of, like, finally we got to the point where, you know, after a lot of long nights and headaches and whatever, we hit the capacity at the small venue, and we're like, okay, we're ready for the big one. This is the big leagues.
After some consistent nights.
Yeah, after we were hitting the same numbers for every weekend for, like, almost a year and a half. Okay, like, dude, we got to keep moving. Like, what's the next? You know, we had a good thing going. Got the bigger one, did it again there, crushed it, kept going. And, you know, for me, like, again, I told you, it's not a passion of mine. I'm
Right.
good at it.
Right.
I'm good with people. I'm good at hospitality. Like, I know I'm good. I'm good at getting people to come somewhere. Like, it's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this is an empty void. Remember, I've done so much personal development in business and traveling and this, and I'm in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, bro. And for some people, and it's crazy. They
Like
think,
this comes easy to me, but this is not where I belong type of thing.
Of course not. Yeah, I totally felt that. And I talk to people all the time, like, you're so lucky to own a nightclub. I'm like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, I see what you're thinking it's cool for.
Right. Right.
I don't think it's cool for that because I've already been like, kind of doing it.
Yeah.
And I see bigger vision. I see a bigger purpose, right? So
Right.
that's why I was kind of like, and that's when I started slowing, like, let me kind of tell my partners, like, look, honestly, I'd rather not be as involved on a day-to-day. Let me just have a less equity. Let me just,
Right.
as long as I'm making this, you guys can make the more money. And they're
Right.
fine with that, obviously. And I'm just,
Yeah.
I just want
Kinda
some cash
removed.
flow coming from it. And I don't want to be involved.
Right.
And that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
And that's when I ended up buying a manufacturer, a vitamin manufacturer, which is completely opposite.
Completely different.
Vitamins, health, nightclub, alcohol.
Right. So what I want to know about this story, like
Yeah.
of all things, because it's not like for you, I've realized that is for the most part, things are they're cohesive in some ways, but they're really different industries in its
Yeah.
totality. Like obviously the agency serves all of these things, right? Because
Yeah.
you need to market and all these things. So that's good. But you went from
Right.
nightclubs to now, manufacturing business and
Yeah.
nutrition products and all of that. Like what's going through your mind? Did a window of opportunity come up and that's what you took advantage of? Like how did that happen? This episode is brought to you by our partners at Wealthy Creator, the go-to experts for entrepreneurs looking to elevate their personal brand and unlock new income streams. With their proprietary Pineda method, you'll get a tailored blueprint. You'll master content production and discover monetization secrets that work. Don't just work hard, work smart, and let Wealthy Creator guide you to your next level of success. Visit the link in the description below to learn more and start transforming your personal brand today. Now back to the episode.
So I'm always searching, man. I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm always looking for things for sale. I'm always like, no matter what.
Really?
Even at the nightclub, even at its peak, when we're making the most money, I'm always like, okay, what's next? Where do I put this money? How do I buy something? Like, because it's not the end all be all until
Right.
I feel like I have certain cash flows coming in from different places and I'm good.
Yeah.
And I set up that kind of life. But I'm always looking, right? So I'm always having conversations with people. And then like I have a good friend of mine, Alex, you know him. And he's like, oh, like, what do you think about like getting into private equity and like we opening up this company where we just start buying mom and pop companies and like scaling them with our marketing experience and then reselling them or buying something in the same vertical. And I'm like, dude, that sounds kind of right up my alley. Let's do it. So I was like, all right, cool. So at the time, the reason the idea of the vitamin manufacturer came about, because one of our clients at the marketing agency, when we were fully running, was a good friend of mine. And he's like, dude, I want to start a supplement company, like, but I want you to like partner in it with me, So we invested some money, like, and he was kind of already like, he found a company to manufacture for the brand already, and I kind of gave some money, plus I helped with the marketing, and we're just okay, let's do this, man, whatever.
Yeah.
While I had the club, and I'm like, okay, like, where are you manufacturing? How much are we paying? And then we started getting into all these details, and we're like, dude, that's all expensive to make this stuff. Like, this is pretty pricey. Like, are you sure? Like, she's not ripping us off or whatever? Like, I don't know. I mean, what do we know? We don't know.
Right.
And Alex is like, dude, what if I find a manufacturer for sale and we bring that company in-house and we make the stuff ourselves? And I'm like, let's do it. And Alex literally found this company for sale. I don't even remember how he found it. And we pulled the money together. We got an investor as well. And we're just like, all right, let's buy this company. We bought a mom and pop vitamin manufacturer and,
locally, right?
Locally, yeah, here in Miami. And that came with a whole set of lessons and experience, which we're still with now. Yeah. But, so we started making our own products. So it was pretty cool. We realized, like, damn, they were kind of hitting us over the head a little bit, Yeah. Because we know the game now, and it's been 5 years. I know vitamins and manufacturing.
It's been 5 years since you guys opened up shop?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Because remember, as I have this, I'm already with something else. I'm overlapping because I know things. Some businesses like the club, I feel like has an expiration date. Yeah. Thankfully, it hasn't, and like we're actually remodeling it now, and I hope I continue getting that cash flow. Right. But again, for me, like I need to always be leveling up. Like I need to find what I'm doing
one
next.
thing, and not have all your eggs in one basket. Because
COVID was a big example of that.
Right.
COVID, the club was closed.
Right. That's true. And if you didn't have these other offset
100%.
companies, you would have Yeah. No, I feel that for
man.
sure.
In between, there's a lot of failures too.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
I'm
I've
sure. No,
bought
and
lost
I
businesses.
definitely want to, hear about some of those too, as far as like the ones that didn't work out.
Yeah.
That you're like, dude, lost my shirt. Like, what? I guess give me one of the stories where it didn't go well. You kind of betted too hard on something.
The one that seems the most relevant, I guess, right now is like during COVID. So before COVID, when the club was doing good or whatever, we decided to we partnered with these guys to open a gym, and I was one of the personal guarantees on the lease, and COVID hit. The guys that brought the idea to us got in a fight, kind of disappeared, kind of like, oh, it's kind of on you guys, and then there's just a lot of like
Drama
going on between them, and we're just like, hey, dude, like we just found the location. We're just supposed to bring the people, like,
Right.
Like what's going on? And at this point, we're like, sign the lease. We're on the hook for a lot of money, and I'm like, well, what's gonna happen now? And then on top of all that, COVID hits. And I'm the type of person, bro. If I make a deal with you, I don't care if I have the money at the time or not. I'm gonna figure it out. And I told the landlord, like, yo, I'm a personal guarantor on this lease. I don't know what happened with these guys. Like, I can't even. I don't know what's gonna happen, but like, I'll try to figure out how to get you rent.
Right.
And yeah, bro, like I had to figure out a way because the place we couldn't open. There's the city was closed. We couldn't get permits, none of that stuff, and it was just like it was a mess.
Horrible timing.
Yeah, horrible timing. And the only thing I could think of is like, okay, I gotta sell it, at least not even to make the money back, just get the lease off of our name. Right. Like that's my biggest thing, because you know what it is. It's like a 3-year lease. Right. I think it was like $7,000 a month of rent or something like that. Yeah. It's a lot of money you're gonna owe someone. Yeah. So I was like, dude, let's just try to sell it. And at the time, bro, and during that era, imagine I'm like, everyone's with the mask and I'm trying to sell a business during COVID. Like it's like illogical. And I was going through it, bro. Yeah. And I just felt like I'm gonna figure this out. And I was like, this is gonna be one of the greatest stories ever. Because brother, I was able to sell it. We were able to get it off our name. Whatever. It's a loss. We didn't make any money off of it, but we got to sell it.
Did you lose money?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Everyone lost money.
Yeah.
But better than continue losing like almost what it would have been $200,000-$300,000 more or whatever. Right. And I just found it as a solution because everyone kind of gave up on it. Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool.
I'll take it upon myself.
In the process, because this is the beautiful part of this, right? In the process of me trying to sell this place, I met really interesting people. One of those people that I ended up meeting ends up having a cause. This is when I remember during the club. During the gym was being built and stuff. I had already had the manufacturer. It was like the first year in or second year in of it, and I met this guy, and he came to buy the gym to put a brewery. And I was like, I don't know if it's a space for this, bro. Like, this is a gym. Like, I don't know if you could put it here, but like, whatever. Honestly, like, it's up to you. And he goes, yeah, it's fine. Like, I do other stuff anyways. And I was like, what do you do? He's like, and at the time he did cosmetics. I was like, wait, what do you mean? What's your real business? He's like, oh, my real business isn't a brewery. I own a cosmetic manufacturing business. And I was like, wait a minute. I got a manufacturing business. And long story short, we ended up doing a ton of business together. Oh, really? And make a lot of money together. So it was just, there's always beauty in that situation. You just got to find it. And then there's 2 other people that I also connected with, did business with later on, and just built really good relationships with. So
that's awesome.
And I know in the future, those 2 other people I'm going to end up doing something really cool with as well. Yeah. And that was like a little failure happy story, right?
Silver lining in every...
Silver lining, yeah.
In every story that's...
It's just crazy because I didn't think it was going to be anything... There's nothing positive going to come out of that. And look at that. I met a really great person who I'm friends with.
That you probably made more money than you did lose, that you lost
Who knows? Yeah, no, and who knows if I would have kept losing, or maybe it wouldn't have been a good... But you just never know.
You never know.
And that was that, So it's just really cool to always... Even in the bad times, man, there's always something good that's going to come out of it. That's for sure.
For sure. All right. And then I guess fast forward to the present times when it comes to the cash flow side of things.
Sure.
What you also have a restaurant. It's called Recess, right? It's in
we have a
Marlin Stadium.
Yeah, we have a sports lounge.
How the heck did that happen? And how many partners are involved in that?
It's 4 of us.
Okay.
I think 4 or 5 of us. 3, 4, 5 of us.
5? Okay. Yeah. And all of you have I guess different roles?
Different roles, different equity. Yeah. In that one, I'm a little bit more passive. I invested money. Okay. But I just help with marketing. I'll be there if we need help, hands-on or whatever. Right. But that was just from the day-to-day, man.
What does it cost to be in Marlin Stadium? This is a stadium that seats 36,000 plus people, right?
Yeah, it's intense.
Like, what's the rent and something like that?
So for
Or
that,
how does that work?
Yeah, so that it's a percentage base of revenue.
Okay.
So that's how that works. But yeah, that's how we pretty much piece it. It's a nice chunk. I don't want to get into like the details of it, but it's a nice chunk. But yeah, that's how we got the deal. It's good and it's bad. I mean, it's seasonal, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's a cool business. Definitely love it because I can bring a lot of clients there. You know, it's more of a wholesome environment.
Yeah.
We have food, you know, it's family friendly, you know, stuff like that. You can hang out.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
I love that it's percentage based. I thought you had to like, no matter what, like, yo, you need to pay.
Yeah, the thing is there's still fees attached to it, right? Like you still have like insurance, you have to pay, like there's a lot of stuff that when you're not open, you still have to cover. So you got to be pretty smart with the money.
Got it.
But yeah, we just
they're bringing the traffic to you, which is a plus.
Right. It's like a mall situation, right? Like you're
in
a mall, you know, you paying a pretty penny, but like the people are coming.
Right.
Similar to my other restaurant that I have now, which is it's like a small restaurant inside of an office building.
Oh, okay.
So I like that model, right? The people are in the area model. So I have a small Latin restaurant that I just opened. Like it's been 3-4 months.
It's called Sabor Latino.
Sabor Express.
Sabor Express. Sabor Express.
That's the new baby, right?
Yeah.
The last 4 months.
Yeah.
And
what does it cost to start up a new like restaurant like that from scratch?
That one, we bought it existing. I'm never gonna start something from scratch. I'm good with that. I think the club was the first, like the last thing I wanted.
So you bought it existing and just rebranded it, or like
renovated kind of give it some love, man. Like, you know, just like it's already had cash flow already coming in. You know, there's a lot of things that they didn't have.
Yeah.
It definitely needed, like, for example, they didn't do Uber Eats.
They didn't do Uber Eats?
They didn't do Uber Eats.
Oh, wow.
Huge, you know,
opportunity.
So I started doing Uber Eats, you know, like fix the menu.
Yeah.
We added like things, like we added to that place. It's a full kitchen, full restaurant, whatever. You can sit down, dine in, take out, whatever.
Right.
But they didn't have, like, we're also in an office building. So we started adding like snacks, candy bars, Tylenol, like on the bottom. Cause it's also, you got to think about a convenience store as well, right?
Right.
So we had little things like that. We ended up, like, you know, doing marketing.
You guys have like cantina or meal plans as well?
Absolutely. So that's so the biggest revenue center for that business is the cantinas, which is like I say cantina, I said it's so American. I was like cantinas.
Yeah.
But the cantinas are like basically, you know, meal plans, meal prep, which is funny. Remember I told you it's gonna circle back?
Yeah.
So funny enough, we do a lot of cantinas.
Right.
Yeah. So we do basically like people come daily, they pick up their cantinas, or we have a delivery driver, we have a van, it takes it to the office.
And I'm sure people in the actual office where it's at,
they come down and pick up their cantinas. And
that's awesome.
That's literally what I see that growing. Scaling to, which is growing pretty good now. We work with a lot of like clinics and places that have like elderly patients that, you know, they do like therapies and stuff. They also buy large quantities of cantinas for their patients. And
that's amazing.
That's what we're doing with that business. Cash flow, man. It's just a quick little business.
Reoccurring.
Delicious food.
Business, yeah. Reoccurring business that people just renew, you know, every whatever.
Yeah, people gotta eat.
Membership.
And I didn't want to do something luxurious, man. Like when we bought this place, we're just like, this is...
Recesses would be the luxurious
yeah, okay,
kind
cool.
of.
We got that's check. Like it's higher end. Like I could bring people there that are like, you know, maybe a little bit more bougie, I guess.
Yep.
And be honest about it, shout out to Sabor Express because we could be bougie too. You know? It's classy, man. Classy. You know, it's good quality for being. It's not like a cafeteria. It looks literally like a good restaurant.
Right.
So, yeah, man, that was the idea for that. Just to kind of build up like the cantinas and just I wanted a little bit of everything, right? Like if you notice, I don't know if you can see the pattern. The gym was the only thing that was kind of a disappointment, which I know I'll open one eventually in the future, 100%. It's just I like things that fit my lifestyle.
Right.
Like I like having a restaurant. I like the supplement vitamin. I love health. I love you know, nutrition. I think that's so cool. You know, the club was amazing for me. I love socializing. I love events. I still like that. I like seeing people have a good time, bringing people together. Right. You know, all these things they intertwine in a way if you see the pattern. You know,
for sure. And then now you have your newest company is the mushroom.
Oh yeah, the mushroom gummy.
Yeah,
really funny. I'm like, oh, which one are you talking about? So
is it the newest?
The newest one is which I'll tell you after. Okay. Which is what I'm working on. As of lately, right? You hear all my stuff. You're like, this guy is all over the place.
Yes.
I've heard that so much in my life, right? Oh, you're all over the place, and I'm like, it fits for me. Like, I like it. I love
you live in that
every day what I do.
Right.
You know,
because it's every day is a new experience.
Happy, bro, dude. Like I love it. For me, it's fun. This is what I love to do.
Right.
Anyways, Yes, the latest thing is e-com. So having the vitamin manufacturer, being in this industry, having the experience with the marketing, we found a couple of openings that we could do, and I saw a product that was selling really well, good trends, whatever. We can make it at our facility. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's make these mushroom gummies, man. And it's, it's cool.
What's the purpose of these mushroom gummies?
It's like the CBD of mushrooms.
Okay.
Perfect example. They're not psychedelic. They're none of that. It's more of a relaxing, calm mushroom thing.
Okay. So people would take these gummies like to relax or like
to
go to
chill,
sleep or
yeah, not even to sleep, just kind of just chill, introspective, like nothing crazy. You're not. Again, it's legal. It's not like psychedelics. I'm not selling drugs, right?
Right.
But it's like, it's just something that I saw that's trending.
Yeah.
I can make it.
Right.
We plugged and play quickly.
Yeah.
We executed. I have everything in place now. Right. I have the manufacturing. I have the marketing company.
Right.
And
because you still have the marketing company?
Yeah, we still have the marketing company.
Oh,
in
nice.
a different way now, though.
Right.
Now it's targeted more for like the e-commerce brands that we've been working with and developed. Right.
So it's more in-house, would you say? Or you still have clients?
Definitely in-house, but we have clients. Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
So a little hybrid version.
Right, here's the big picture, right? The goal is to just pretty much acquire a bunch of brands.
Yeah.
Right, and pretty much offer manufacturing, marketing, and the new business I was going to tell you, we're going to start doing fulfillment.
That's right.
So I'm going to start doing fulfillment.
Nice.
So we have all three things ready.
So when it comes to fulfillment, it would be fulfillment for all products?
All products, yeah. But when I say
kinda
manufacturing, I could do manufacturing in the health and supplement space, yeah.
Right. And when you do fulfillment, you could be basically like, Amazon, what's it called?
FBA.
FBA?
Yeah, so
basically.
Actually, we have like 2 clients like that now that we do Amazon FBA. So they manage like 90 stores, and we would pretty much help them prep and pack and send ship it back out. It's to Amazon.
Wow.
To the actual Amazon store. And we could also do FBM, where we fulfill by merchant, which is like the customer that owns that store is opting to do their own shipping. And then obviously I have my mushroom brand that we do direct to consumer through Shopify. So we just plug into people's Shopify stores.
You'll literally become your own client as well in the...
Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah.
So I basically am.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
That's dope. That's super cool.
With perks, obviously. The rate.
Of course.
But yeah, dude, I mean that, and then, we have the pump out thing that I partnered with Chris on, trying to help him scale that. So
nice. I didn't know you were also involved in that.
So I jumped in with Chris on that. Just brother, again, it's just people with the right mindset. I'm in there, bro.
Right.
Like, whatever we got to do, if I have the access, and now I'm gonna start doing fulfillment for that product in our fulfillment center. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm slowly transitioning kind of more into that same vertical.
Right.
Manufacturing, marketing, fulfillment in the e-com space. Like that's kind of our thing.
So eventually the goal, I guess, would be to have everything live in that space?
Yeah.
Or would it still be, the restaurants and the gym and the...
I'm always going to have that.
You're always going to have
100%.
all of those things.
I think it's so important to have both, man.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to get over the thought that I couldn't have both.
Right. Let's go. Yeah.
I used to always have that thought stop me, like...
Especially when people kept telling you, like, yo,
dude,
you're all over the place. Like, why don't you have it?
Dude, I used to get so stressed out trying to do one thing. So stressed out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, maybe they're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I do agree, you have to focus on one thing, but you got to give everything its time. There's a book by Gary Keller, The One Thing.
Yep.
Give everything its time. I could do many things, but when I'm doing that thing, give it its time.
Right.
I think
that's the issue.
That's
when the issue really lies when you're trying to do so many different things at the same time.
Right.
And you don't give the time that it's needed for it to reach its maturity, right? Like get the foundation.
I definitely do a blitz on every business when we open it. Like for example, the manufacturer, dude, we're like gun ho. Like I went to Vegas like 3 times to conventions. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Boom. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
We already have it flowing. Cool. Okay. How can I transition to something else? Okay. The next vertical. And again, remember, I don't put myself in a position in a business where I'm stuck to the day to day. I rather have less equity and have more freedom.
Right.
And that's always my thing. I'm going to bring value.
Right.
I'm going to bring what I do.
Right.
Bring business. I'm going to bring development. I'm going to bring ideas. I'm going to bring marketing always.
Yeah. So you always have mostly like a CEO role type of thing, and then the COO kind of manages the day to day, or like business unit leader.
Definitely more like a
visionary,
like a VP of like, I would say a VP of like business development.
Okay,
that's like, if you want to give me a title.
Right.
Creative strategist, like business partnerships, like high level stuff. I like to do high level stuff. I like connecting the right contracts and closing business. I love sales. Like to me, I love sales. So that's what I focus on.
Yeah.
Almost all the businesses.
And then your partners, you usually get people that would run the day to day.
100%. I find people that are good at that, right? Like that are good at like dotting all the T's. I mean, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, and like, or that are good at just like being able to process things and having process and flows and things like that. I know of them. I know what I have to do. I can do it. You know, I think for the e-com, I'm becoming more of like that, for example. And like, I'm going to be more of like hands-on, like, you know, on the business side, maybe even looking at the accounting a little bit more. Like, just depends where I'm needed and where I can provide the most value.
Of course. Cool, man. And then when it comes to now the love side of things.
Oh, got to throw love back in. Too much business talk. We got to go back to love.
Yeah. No, I want to definitely touch on this, man, because, you know, you're someone who's super driven. You have so many goals. You've accomplished so much at such a young age. Like, I know that there has to be like a greater why as well. I know that you're super close to your mom and you've always been wanting to like make sure that she's taken care of and all of that. What does it look like for you when it comes to the family side of things, you know, eventually starting your own family or all of that stuff? Like, because I don't really know much about you and this part of you.
We always talk business.
Talk about business.
Yeah. For me, so I guess family side, right? I think when I tell you about balance, if you know, like, I'm also very wary of being so caught up on everything, right? So like my business is why I'm telling you, like, no, I'd rather have a little bit more freedom. Because I know the value of having time to spend with family. Right. And I used to not do that. So like, it's very important for me, at least once a week, I got to see my family. Yeah. Like there's certain cups that I always want to fill. Yeah. So like getting to that, me finding and like building a family, 100%. Dude, I love family. I'm going to have kids. I already know I'm going to have kids. I'm going to get married. Yeah. 100%. I probably, and I tell you, because I kind of almost like, I can almost foresee it, like maybe like in 2-3 years, I'm probably going to get like settle down. Yeah. But for me, everything's seasons, right? Like I've had relationships where I've just learned a lot, you know, for that moment, it was perfect. And then, you know, it's just kind of one of those things where like, okay, that relationship served its purpose, and I'm moving on. Right. And now I'm in the season where like, I'm just like running. Because now I have the vision very clear. I've always had like, okay, I'm doing this, but what's next? Now I'm like, it's here. That's where I got to do. That's where I'm going. And I'm going to get it when I see it. Right. So I see that. And in the transition, like, you know, I'm super open to, like, if someone comes into my life and it's like, can complement that. And I don't even like using that word compliment. When someone comes to my life and can like, and literally pour into the fire that I'm creating. Right. I'm all in. Right. But I'm also very wary of like, I know how sensitive the fire that I have, the passion that I have can be, and sharing it with the wrong individual can take me off the wrong path. For sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, like, as of late, I've been very like, you know, I'll date and I'll see, but I'm just so like protective of my energy. Yep. You know, and I want to make sure that the person that does feed off of my energy, that it's also going to pour back in. For sure. Because if not, I'm already pouring out in a lot of aspects, right? Yeah. I need to also like feel like I don't want to take from anybody's cup, and I don't want to just pour into someone's cup. Right. I want it to just be free flowing in both ways. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just
for you to set that standard and understand that, because, you know, nowadays, you know, we're getting older and all these things. You could get, you know, pressured into like, oh, I should have been here by this date and all these things. But the fact that you're taking your time and making sure that whoever you do bring into your life at that magnitude, because, you know, it's kind of like partnerships, man, but this is just a greater partnership, right?
It's a big one.
It's a huge one where, like you said, it could either work or not. But this is one that you kind of have to really cross your T's and dot your I's, because it could literally make or break you in a significant way. But if you're able to find that someone that, you know, like with me and my wife, that's able.
I think what you guys have is beautiful. So I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, like with me and my wife, the fact that, you know, we were able to build something together as well, right? Like we didn't meet when I was like super successful and all these different things, right? We met and we were able to together pour into each other and really build something of significance. But one of the things also that is important is having, you know, a helpmate, as for us men, that we're able to feel enabled to go out and conquer and do all these different things, and have someone that could be there and not add to the fire as far as when you come back home, you're stressing out, you're doing all these things out in the streets and trying to make deals happen, and you had a bad day and you come back home and it's literally the same thing, but now it's your spouse, right? Right. Like that's obviously not what we want. So I really do commend you in like really taking your time and until that right person doesn't come, like not feeding into, jumping into something too quickly or something like that.
For sure. I mean, like I said, man, it's super, and I love what you and your wife have. I think it's very beautiful. It's very special. Like, I love that. I love seeing that, And in my head, I mean, I'm sure maybe at some point I was like, oh, like I'd rather have someone like can be with me on the come up, and that kind of thing. And like I'm still coming up, so like it's not like okay.
The come up never really
hopefully I'm never at that next that next point. I could always be growing and growing. So and it'd be interesting to see where I end up in that world. But to get to your point, like I think that's so important, man. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, there's and I live in Miami, man, and you used to live here, so this is crazy. Like the temptation, the accessibility.
I was just telling my friends, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was just telling my friends, like here in Miami, you guys are like spoiled because there's beautiful people all over. Yeah. It's not a lack of beautiful people. Like you go to pretty much any other state in the country and there's not nearly as beautiful people as here. Like you could literally be at the grocery store and you see a full 10, like a freaking model, right? Yeah. And then, if you go somewhere else, is like you might see a 10 once every 3 months, right? Yeah. Not knocking on any other cities, but that's just a reality. Like kind of like the culture behind it, right? Like Miami Beach, everybody's fit, taking care of themselves and all of that.
It's Miami Beach. It's the weather.
Right.
It's become like the the hot place to live. Yeah. And, it's cool and the clubs and
Yeah.
But brother, like
from a superficial standpoint, like good looking people and all of that. But then there's also the side of things is like there's not the smartest people here either. Like you can, it's a dynamic that you have to kind of navigate as a single person. I think it's harder out here.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's harder.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to see who stands out in that world, right? So it's in a. And then I say stand out, I don't mean like stand out being super successful and cool. Right. Who stands out emotionally? Who stands out with values? Because to me, what I find super commendable is a beautiful girl that, like, let's say is surrounded by girls doing OnlyFans or surrounded by girls being like, like just giving into the worldly stuff of Miami. Right. But then she's like holding it down, like about her stuff, like super like committed, super like prayed up, like kind of someone that's like still can hold her values in the midst. Because I think as a girl, it's even harder than a guy. Right. I mean, like we have it hard, right? Yeah. But like a girl, it's like they got 10 times more pressure because like, they're probably worried about like, oh, what if I can't get pregnant after like a certain age? And like, and then you have all this beauty around them. So they have that pressure. So like, when I see where I meet a girl that has like and that hasn't gotten caught up in like the, that kind of Miami fast lifestyle, and she's just very like wholesome and chill and just a good person to speak to, like, dude, that stands out so much here versus like some girls just super beautiful, like, okay, dude, that's what else you have, because that's everywhere now, you know what I mean? Like
the standard's
high. So high here, so it's actually kind of cool, right? Find someone really beautiful and that also has a good heart, good spirit, and can like not be caught up in this world.
Now where does someone like that's single find that here in Miami?
Honestly, man, like I feel like when you're doing what you love, like when you're just doing what you love on a daily basis and whatever that may be, right? And I mean, do what you love. Like, if you love partying and stuff, like I can't help you, my boy. Like if you just love partying, like, you're gonna find someone that loves to party too, right? And how it starts is usually how it ends, right. So I think it's like, for example, like just feel like, I mean, look, I'll tell you me, right? For me, it's like health, business, fitness, church that I should be going more to. Obviously, like just like things like. I love personal development, growing, building on my businesses. Like, you're going to catch me at my businesses. Like, yo, I'm happy there. Like, I might run into someone in one of my businesses and I'm going to talk to them. But like, that's because that's where I thrive. I thrive there. You're in your best light there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like if you're living the life that you like to live and you're living the best version of yourself, whatever that may be, if it's you going to the grocery stores and like, oh, I'm going to go cook a fire salad right now, and you're picking these veggies and you're so happy about it, maybe that's when you run into somebody. You know what I mean? That's how I see it, Yeah. Or if you love to like, oh, I really want to read this book. And then, and that's why I feel like those happenstances happen when you're just in your flow state, I guess. I think that's when it happens. I can't say like, oh, you got to go to this coffee shop on 3rd Street. Like, yo, you're going to find the wifey there. Like, I don't think that makes sense.
It's just really going about your day and kind of being attentive, I guess, too. Because like as guys, obviously, you have to be willing to be like, pull the trigger if you do find something where it's like, okay, this is my worthwhile kind of pursuing.
Well, that's a good point you say that, because as guys that are also like, I guess I could speak for like entrepreneurial, like successful, trying to, you know, build their business and stuff. We get caught up sometimes.
Yeah.
And we're just like this.
Yeah.
And you're not even looking at like, yo, there's a perfect girl right there for you. Like you should talk to her, like give her a chance, like talk, like
no, I've seen that firsthand for sure, because there's a lot of people that I've known that they'll be going about their day, which is, you know, fine, but then opportunities, not just in relationships, but in general. Yeah. And then also like you're so consumed now because our businesses can be ran from our phones. So you could be in the grocery shop, you can be at the smoothie, you could be at the gym, but then when you're not doing the thing that you're actually doing there, you're on your phone. Right. So it's like living in that present moment is harder nowadays as well, because everything is accessible through that little device that we got.
A blessing and a curse.
A blessing and a curse. So maybe you have met Mrs. Right, and then you kind of didn't see her.
I'm just chilling.
Because you're such an outgoing dude, like you're an extrovert. Would you consider yourself an extrovert? Like, because you feed off of people?
I think I'm a trained extrovert.
Trained extrovert?
Yeah.
You're not naturally extroverted?
I like peace, bro. I like being like low key, kind of back. I feed off of energies for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have a limit.
Right.
I'm not like, because I know people that they can just go on and on. I can't wait to go here. And I'm like, no, dude, I got to reset. Like, I remember having almost an anxiety attack when we first had the club, because I was like, there's just so many people and everyone's saying hi to me. And I'm just like, you know, like, I don't want to talk to everybody.
Right.
And I would like go to the office.
Right.
And I would feel that, but I'm trained extrovert in the sense, because I used to be like a little bit short with people, and I would see them. I'm like, oh, hi, bye.
Right.
Like, oh, that guy's a dick. That guy doesn't even talk to us. He just said hi every 2 seconds. I don't feel so self-conscious about that. I'm like, now I'm just like,
taking the
hey,
time.
It's okay.
Yeah.
If they think I didn't like give them time to say hi, like it doesn't really matter. Like my intention is to be cool with them.
Right.
And like I just learned like how good it is to meet people. I'm looking at the good part about it.
Right.
Because I think in life it's all about relationships.
For sure.
I think when we die, we're gonna think about like, I didn't think about, oh, I bought this, I bought that. You're like, damn, I love that time we went here and I was with this person.
Yeah.
I love that time that I took this trip and I was with this person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think about that, like the connections, like those convos, and like, shout out to my boy Ryan, who's really, really good people. Like he was like he's still one of my best friends. He was like, bro, he's so good at meaningful relationships. Like if there is a bank account of meaningful relationships, this guy
he's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And I would get so anxious with him sometimes because he was so quick to, I was so quick to like, okay, what's up? Yeah, very transactional. And I wouldn't realize like having that good contact with people is worth a ton.
Like having depth in the relationship versus...
and really knowing people.
Right.
In a deeper level is worth so much more, you know?
So you would say he has, instead of like the opposite of you, where you were just transactional, hey, showing face, he was actually building relationships with people that you know flourish at the end of the day.
Yeah, because remember, at the end of the day, here's a good question, and I would love to hear your answer on this. Would you prefer to have $100 billion or to know people that have $500 billion that just love you and cherish you and see you as like one of their best friends?
Oh yeah, the people that have the $500 billion.
Because it's just so much more beautiful, people. Right? Like it's like now you have people that have it, that care about you, that are in this better. Like it's just, you want to have people that have the resources, but also that like not only financial resources, but like resources to pour back into you. Like, and that's for sure. What's needed.
And pour into each other.
Yeah,
build a circle, a tribe.
You need
that.
that.
For sure. We're tribal by nature, right? Like we want to be with groups and community. Like that's what we yearn for the most. That's why one of your businesses was so like successful. The Mud Run, was it?
Yeah.
Because it's community and cool. Sort towards a cause and all these different things. Like by nature, we want to do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're able to harness that in an even smaller scale with your inner circle and the people that you're surrounding with, and you know that you're aligned, you're equally yoked, you have the same goals or common goals and all these things, you constantly keep each other accountable. It's nothing more beautiful than being able to do that. So for sure, I couldn't agree with you more on that. But dude, I think we could be talking forever. I think we've gone for a while.
Yeah, sure.
But dude, I think that this won't be the last time. I can't wait to hear what everything else transpires with your journey, with your finances, relationship, your wifey to be, your kids, all of that. I mean, we've known each other for 15 plus years or something like crazy like that.
That's wild.
And I can't wait for another 15 plus years of, building our relationship
for sure.
And in business and each other and all of that, man. So before we go though, like I would love for you to tell the people where can they find you if they wanted to connect with you, learn from you, etc.
For sure. First of all, thank you so much, bro. I really deeply appreciate it. Like thinking of me always and trying to connect because I wish I was better at trying to make those moves. Like, hey, let's connect, So I really appreciate that. Yeah. People can find me. My Instagram's probably the best one. It's my full name is Giancarlo Aguilar with 2 R's at the end. So GIANCARLO AGUILARR.
There you go.
Instagram, and you can see me, bro. I'm just on the day to day.
On there.
Everything,
on there.
yeah.
There, that's where you could probably find all of the stuff that you're working on at the
You
moment.
see all my businesses there.
All
You
the
can see
businesses, everything.
You can see, sometimes I'm trying to show majority of my businesses. You'll see an array of posts, like it's all different things.
Yeah. And you're gonna be posting a lot more consistently.
Of course, I gotta commit to that.
Let's go.
I want to show definitely more behind the scenes.
For
I
sure,
think would help a lot of people. So
100%. Well, you guys heard it here. Thank you for sticking around for this podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Leave your comments. What do you guys think? Where do you think Giancarlo is going to find his wife? Let us know whatever it is in the comments. We love to hear from you guys. And as always, I'll see you at the top. Let's go.